Hello everyone, my name is Tiberius Ignat and I run Scientific Knowledge Services, a small company which works with research organizations for disseminating trustful knowledge and transitioning to open science. We are honored to contribute to the development of citizen science, especially in what it means the participation of research libraries in this practice. I am presenting today BESPOC, our prototype for a citizen science point of contact at research organizations. For those of you less familiar with what citizen science means, it is one of the open science pillars as defined by the European Commission Open Science Policy Platform. It stays next to responsible research indicators, fair data, open access, and 4 other important pillars, all designed to make research more open and reproducible. So what is citizen science? It is a scientific effort which involves lay citizens to actively contribute to research activities with their intellectual effort, knowledge, tools, or resources. It requires, before anything, to give attention and respect to researchers' activity. The purpose of this presentation is to create conversation around our prototype for a citizen science single point of contact, a concept which was first introduced in October 2016 by the European League of Research Universities, LERU. Citizen science single point of contact is a rather long term. For this reason, you will hear me speaking today about BESPOC, which means broad engagement in science, point of contact, a terminology which we first introduced this year in 2020. I'll be back on that terminology side in a little while. All right, a single point of contact for citizen science. First, from where this idea came from. If we go back in 2016, as I mentioned before, we will notice an important advice paper issued by LERU, the League of European Research Universities. This advice paper provides, even today, some of the greatest guidelines for embedding citizen science in the life of universities. This kind of activity existed and it was known long before in universities, but mostly at the laboratory or department level. The novelty of this advice paper, however, is the upscale of citizen science to the level of the organization. Written as a recommendation for institutions, the single point of contact for citizen science is suggested to the leadership of universities to advise scientists and to ensure liaison with the national and regional citizen science initiatives. This is the paragraph which raised the idea of such a single point of contact. Now, that short break for terminology. To become a circulated idea and to be introduced easier in our conversations, we think that the concept of a single point of contact for citizen science needs a shorter term. I wrote together with Dr. Paul Aries, the Vice Provost of UCL, an article which was published this year, in which we speak about embedding open science in European universities. In it, we propose an international terminology for this single point of contact. We propose to generally call it BESPOC, which is an acronym for Broad Engagement in Science Point of Contact. We think this little detail, among other actions, will help turn this recommendation into a practice. So, Since 2016, we have the recommendation of creating a citizen single point of contact, a BESPOC, but it didn't become a practice as far as we are aware. Citizen science remains a novel idea at university level. Even the final report of Open Science Policy Platform recognizes that for most stakeholders, the progress in this area is still in the early stages of discussions, planning, and some initial implementations. However, we picked this recommendation right away and we pushed it forward. We did so via a series of events called Focus on Open Science.
Introductory speakers explained I was a historian, so I am a historian, so many of my examples are historical examples.
Znanost za državljane, državljanska znanost, citizen science.
We want to change the paradigm of research in library and archival environment.
You can participate.
Competition, in my opinion, is good as long as it is constructive, and you can achieve that by collaborating in the same time.
We also organize many workshops like the one we are here.
Via journal articles, conference presentations, including the annual conference of LIBER, the European Association of Research Libraries, UKSG, European Citizen Science Association, and so on. We also push this in one-to-one conversations, in master classes, and even in consultancy. BESPOC also represents one of the strategic direction of the Citizen Science Working Group, which I recommend you to consider joining, not only the group, but also LIBER as a network. But what would such a BESPOC look like? Well, we at Scientific Knowledge Services have been prototyping independently such a concept since 2017. In that year, we first mentioned roles for European research libraries in citizen science world. That happened at the LIBER Conference in PATRAS in Greece. Our BESPOC prototype has 9 elements. I will present them here to the core of each element, and we will discover in one-to-one conversations the details that is making this BESPOC. So first of all, the first element, it's a platform in which to build and continuously update the institutional policy for citizen science, including a concordat of interest between involved stakeholders. That could be laboratories, PR offices, safety compliance offices, scholarly communication offices, data center, training center, and similars. The visible part of this policy platform will be a continuously updated report. This is the first element. Next to it, it is a portal. A portal which contains information about citizen science activities at your organization and possible beyond that, in your city, in your region, in your domain of research. Third element, various frameworks for partnerships in around citizen science. Such partnerships could take place between units, departments belonging to the same institution, or with third parties, like other organizations, because citizen science is a complex approach to research and very often requires such partnerships in order to happen effectively. An example could be a partnership between a university and a museum, or with a crowdsourcing platform. Further down, our next element is represented by a collection of templates for citizen science activities. Examples are datasheets, protocols, training methods, training materials, checklists, reports, evaluation forms, It is now demonstrated that the quality of citizen science data is highly dependent on the consistency of your training programs and how easy it is, for example, to follow the protocol, which means certain ways to design the protocol. A collection of templates certainly helps, and I predict that it will be in high demand at your institution if you start citizen science activities. And here we are at the fifth element, specific research communication. Scientific communication in citizen science world has its own style. It should preserve the quality of peer review, no doubt about that, but it rather needs to abandon the scientific jargon or the discipline jargon when we address to citizens. As BESPOC will offer such a symbiotic system, not only to ignite, but also to facilitate the scholarly and lay communications. This element of BESPOC will be able to contribute to the promise of research impact, to increase the dissemination of research, and, very important, to stimulate, to enable the recruitment for citizen science projects. Our next element is a connector. This connector will plug the interested research groups with your research office. It will be a point of reference to help scientists embed citizen science in grant proposals, and it will most probably offer services of scouting for grants, proposals, or for editing. Citizen science is not yet the obvious route for funders, although Horizon Europe will apparently be insisting on the collaboration between science and society. Don't forget, also the industry could be a shareholder in citizen science. Hence, the important role of research office and the connection that is needed between that office and your research groups. The seventh element could be an easy one or a difficult one. It is a desk, physical or virtual, which offers a gateway for the public to propose research projects. It will be an easy one when there is a sort of harmony driven by curiosity or by the ambition to fix the unknown, a harmony between researchers and the public. On the contrary, it will become a hot potato when such harmony is broken, when the public need for new understanding and for innovative solutions to their problems is not very close to researchers' agenda. This entry point in such case might become an intrusion point from the researcher's perspective. We don't have much time to insist during this presentation, but there could be certain strategies to achieve merry work in this area. I am more than happy to engage with you, as I said, in one-to-one conversations. We are now coming close to the finish line. The eighth element is another connector. This time, such a connector is aimed to provide the legal confidence by connecting the citizen science activities with the relevant departments of universities that oversee the legal and safety matters. Example, your organization is running a field study and you want to make sure that whatever unhappy event happens, your organization employ the right diligence to avoid it and to have it legally covered. A second example is needed. You set up a prize for the most relevant lay contributor to a citizen science project. How do you know that the rules of competition are rightly set from a legal perspective to determine who wins that prize? Last, by all means, not the least element, is a portal for building a community of participants. This portal could be very much the same or different to the activities portal that I mentioned before. It depends on your engagement strategy. The Community Builder portal will make your organization an active member of the society. It will reward both researchers and scientists with an interactive space, a space for friendships. It will facilitate recruitment and retention, and it will be very important, and to combat the volunteer burnout. This community builder is the right place for citizen science players to make a contribution to the effort against societal imbalances like gender participation, racism, and other issues that are on the rise now. Because this is what a community is doing. Remember, a community is neither created nor managed. A community is nurtured. So this community portal, part of a more complex BESPOC, is so much important for the success of your research activities when it comes to citizen science. This portal and the communities that it can nurture, it will help your organization become and better serve the society for which it exists, become a better member of society. This is, in a nutshell, our BESPOC prototype. The single point of contact for your institution for engaging scientifically with the broader society. Now, we like to be consistent. For those of you involved in the library development, in 2019 in Dublin, we worked with a group of LIBER members to identify which are the preferred areas of action to LIBER libraries in citizen science world. These are the areas which were distinguished as most suitable for action. Libraries to build a bridge between science and public. Libraries to build and support infrastructure in citizen science. To develop trainings and promote new skills. Libraries to run advocacy programs. Because citizen science needs a certain level of advocacy. Our BESPOC prototype is following these areas of preference and, to an extent, areas of expertise. But what is ultimately the real value of BESPOC? Well, it drives research beyond the academic and research organizations. It creates a broader community around research practices and policies. It nurtures a community of curious minds. It educates people beyond traditional curricula. It consolidates trust in research. This is very much needed nowadays. People will learn by working in citizen science, contributing in citizen science projects, will learn to distinguish between evidence and misinformation, between sustainable development and manipulation. People will contribute in citizen science projects in order to achieve societal goals. Ultimately, researchers will learn too to become better citizens and to contribute more to our society. We are confident we can develop with you tailored BESPOC units and maybe a network of them, embedding your expertise. The BESPOC prototype is what we think it will deliver the citizen science single point of contact in your institution as recommended by LERU in 2016 through their advice paper. Thank you for watching and for attending this presentation. I will be pleased to engage in any further conversation with you together with my team at SKS. Don't hesitate to contact us whenever is needed. Here are my contact details and I welcome your questions and inquiries. Finally, we used some images in this presentation and would like to display credits for these images. Thank you once again for watching.